honored to be
This
here
is
with you, Olivia.
yes,
Here,
this is very
I'm
fun.
gonna spray some frankincense perfume to
There you
anoint
go.
our space.
You've got a
Oh, it
mist
smells
in the space.
so good. It
I
smells
cannot wait.
so good.
I
Oh,
wish that I was going to the market with you this Saturday because I can smell all the smells, but now I can't. Hi Pablo, what's
hi,
up? So
Pablo.
we are starting a brand new, I hope it's going to be a series because I am fascinated by this, and I used to not understand it at all, and now I'm just absolutely intrigued and very fascinated. And I actually don't know too much about astrology, but somebody in this room does, and I want to introduce you to her. So everybody, please help me give the warmest welcome ever to Emily Liu of irisofthemoon.com.
Hello, hello. Thank you for the very warm welcome, Olivia. So honored to be here. First off, my first Instagram live, like ever, even though this feature has been available for years. And secondly, astrology was actually sort of the gateway for me to enter my spiritual journey. It was through a combination of actually astrology and tarot. And even though in astrology, I don't call myself like I don't read charts for other people. I just read charts for fun. And it's just always like a fun little icebreaker for me to just be like, "Hey, what's your astrology chart? Let's pull it up." Okay, so this is what I see. Boom, 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 boom. And people just being like, "Oh," because I think with astrology, and I had this perspective too. When I first heard of astrology, I was like, this is BS. This is stupid. Like, it's just stuff that you see on Cosmo and Vogue, like Cancer, love life, Cancer, this life. But when I actually dived deeper into astrology during the beginning of my spiritual journey, I was mind blown by all the different stuff. And it was just, I felt validated in a way because it was like, these magazines were focusing on just my sun sign, which is like the sign that most people are most familiar with. It's the sign that you're associated with when you're born. So, for instance, I'm July 4th, so my sun sign is a Cancer. So, it felt very validating to hear about all these other features like your rising, your moon, your Pluto, your North Node. So, these are all, these are foreign terms for people that might seem and sound overwhelming, but once we break it down, there's actually a lot of validation and practicality involved.
That is awesome. I also noticed the same thing. So before we kind of dive a little deeper into it, I just wanted to do just a little bit of housekeeping, just because there's some things happening tonight. Literally, I think the new
Oh,
moon
yeah.
actually just happened, like maybe an hour ago. Like it just started. So Emily and I are
Ah.
actually doing a new moon virtual meditation circle slash workshop kind of thing, and it's going to be at 8 p.m. tonight, which is Thursday, November 4th, which is for the Scorpio new moon. Emily knows a lot about how that works, like each new moon's phases and all of that good stuff. So Emily's going to be explaining that part, and I will be leading the meditation part, which I have led many meditations now. So I think that will be we're covering our areas of expertise. So it's going to be super fun. It's free. So if you want to be part of that, please do come. Here is the link for the new moon meditation circle free virtual event right here. So there's the link. It's free.
Also, th- this new moon will be a doozy.
It's a
It's not going
doozy.
to be like any other new moons. So definitely
Hi,
come check it
Peter.
out.
We've
Hi,
got Peter and
Peter.
Pablo in the house. What's up?
All
Yeah.
right.
Okay. So that is kind of the first thing I wanted to talk about in our first episode of this. Oh, why not? What's the doozy part? I missed it. Yes. Why is the new moon? Why is the new moon in Scorpio kind of a doozy?
So just to kind of give you the short version of it, because if you want to hear the full version of it, you should check out the meditation. The doozy part is new moons traditionally are a great time for manifestation, but this particular new moon in Scorpio is actually not a good time for manifesting. So if you have any goals that you want to set, this is not the new moon to set them in. Otherwise, you might accidentally set your seeds on fire because that's just what Scorpio can sometimes do.
That does not sound
Yeah.
right.
I know.
Whoa.
Eh,
We're-
I was
I don't
reading
want to
I was
say.
reading up on it too.
Yeah,
Yeah, so,
yeah.
instead of goal setting, we recommend setting, intentions to help you, release blockages that prevent you from reaching your goals. So, say you have a goal. So, let's say my goal that I would traditionally set during a new moon is I want to make $2,000 in sales at my outdoor market. But I don't want to set that for this new moon because it might go wrong. So, what I would set instead is I ask the universe to help me clear whatever blockages are preventing me from reaching that goal.
I
It could be
like.
like any limiting beliefs, conditioning I gotta shake off, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it's a very transformative time, right? That at least that's what I've read while I was creating the worksheet yesterday. Yeah, we're gonna have like a
It
free
is.
worksheet and everything. There's a little Scorpio new moon cheat sheet, all kinds of cool stuff happening tonight. So it should be fun.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a
okay,
really cool worksheet.
thanks. I tried. Mostly copying and it's so funny because in college, plagiarizing really shouldn't happen. And then after you like leave college, we're just quoting things all the time, just like constantly quoting things and like
Honestly,
paraphrasing.
information has to come from somewhere, right?
It's true. I mean, I guess that's why we write essays and things, right? In college and in high school, like you quote it, you analyze it, you give it new insight, and then pray that you pass a class.
Yeah, sounds about right. I was a humanitarian major, so I wrote a lot of essays about Mean Girls for one class. I watched Mean Girls 4 times, and because I had to write like 4 separate essays on it,
You
and then
told
I
me
had to
about this
do
class.
yeah, and I had to do one final essay that combined basically all 4 of my past papers, and it was just like psychoanalyzing Mean Girls and applying things like hedonism or anarchy and those like very philosophical concepts against a movie like Mean Girls. And I'm sure like crap, I forgot her name. Is it Tina Fey, the one who made Mean Girls, who wrote it?
She might have. I'm
I know
not
she
sure
was a
though.
producer, but I'm sure like she was just like la la la. Let me just write about this high school experience, and then now people are using her, her movie to psychoanalyze and apply like Freudianism, like Nietzsche, and all that stuff. I did. I had to get that A. So
Wow. Well, I feel like Mean Girls is a very common pop culture reference. Like if somebody's being a Regina George,
oh yeah, I mean
right?
yeah.
Like that's
On Wednesdays we wear pink.
yeah, like that's totally it's a very quotable thing. Like I'll say like you can sit with us all the time rather than
Yeah.
like, you can't sit with us.
You know what'd be so fun? So we're gonna do like we're gonna analyze a chart in a bit, but maybe for another like planned episode, we could analyze like the Mean Girls astrology chart.
That would be so funny. Like if it was
Yeah, so
because fictional characters have birth charts too, right?
yeah, you just have to kind of make up the time.
Yeah,
So
like a the fan fiction style.
yeah, but I would be surprised and curious to see like Mean Girls astrology chart because then we can kind of dissect and maybe get a better understanding from the planetary perspective why Mean Girls is such a classic. Even
Hmm,
other films too, like Clueless, those are people are still watching it, it's on Netflix.
true. Debbie's here. Hi, Debbie!
Hi,
Debbie!
Debbie!
She said, OMG, that would explain so much about Regina George.
Oh my god,
Yay!
yeah.
Debbie's in San Diego. Hi, Debbie in San Diego.
Hi,
That's our
Debbie.
friend. We're a trio.
Yeah, we are a trio, we're the
We've got to
Bubba
throw
cousins.
Debbie into the show whenever Debbie's free.
Yeah! Debbie, we should analyze your chart one day. I know we did a little analysis at your place, but if you wanna put your chart on display.
On blast. Okay.
Mhm.
So, um, okay. So first, I kind of wanted to cover in this demystifying series. You covered it in the beginning a little bit where we were talking about how in the beginning, you would flip into like a page or a section in Cosmo magazine or whatever, and I'd be like, why is this even relevant? I used to look at that and think exactly that. I'll be like, is this even real? Like, how can you possibly say that all of the people born in that month from some 20th of the month to another 20th of the month ish is exactly the same? Like that can't be possible. Then I realized that that is only one small aspect of each person's personality. There's an entire birth chart that hasn't been covered, right? So I
Oh
was
yeah.
very surprised by that. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, so there's actually more to this. And apparently, you don't even really fully know and understand what's going on in your own astrology until you have access to your birth chart, in which you would have to have the time of your birth and the place of your birth as well. So not only your birth date and the year, but the time and the place as well.
Precisely. Yeah. Do we have our guest's astrology chart pulled up?
We do. So we've decided to tackle a very popular person's chart today. I should have put this in the title for when it was broadcasting to all of the networks, but now it's just on half. But that's okay. I'll fix it all later. So today we're actually going to be analyzing Olivia Rodrigo's chart. She's kind of a huge sensation right now. Because she's so much younger, I feel like I am just so incredibly proud of her as an artist and her as a person, and she's Asian American. Like, whoa, what? This is amazing. Like, yeah, snap to that. We've been trying to make it for a while. But yeah, so Olivia Rodrigo, Bruno Mars. Nazim, hi. Ciao, Olivia. My wife is undertaking a course on astrology. She is loving it. By the way, today is my birthday. Happy birthday, Nazim.
Oh, happy
Happy
birthday, Nazim.
Scorpio birthday. Okay,
Woo!
so
On the new moon too.
I know new moon is Scorpio birthday. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. So we've
Let's
got
do
Olivia
it.
Rodrigo's chart. I'm going to pull it up on the screen,
I have it on my screen too, my double monitor.
and I think it's clear. We can probably do this right here. Boom.
Nice. There you go.
Okay, so if you can see this on the screen, hopefully you can. If you can't, we'll be talking about it, talking it through. So, okay, Emily, what are we looking at?
So what you're looking at right now is what we call the birth chart. And there's a lot of information going on right now. So what I recommend is for now and for the purposes of keeping it simple in this episode, let's disregard the red and blue lines.
Okay.
We'll just disregard it. So the symbols that are in the outer circle. So is there like a mouse available on your live screen share? If not,
Oh,
that is okay.
I'm I'm using my mouse, but you can't see it for some reason.
Oh, that's okay. I will do my best to explain it verbally then.
We can see it though. Like it's kind of like the symbols that are rainbow colored, or not rainbow, but like a
Yeah.
red arrow, and then a blue M with an arrow, and an orange looks like a bed with a heart in the middle.
That's so funny. That's so that bed sign is Libra, and Libra is known to be the sign of like partnerships, marriage, and then you said a bed. So I'm like, my perverted mind defaults to what couples do in bed.
Well, it looks like a bed with a hump in the middle. Like what else does it look like?
It's supposed to be a scale, but
Oh,
now I can't unsee that. It's supposed to because traditionally Libra is it's like a scale. If you look up what Libra looks like as an image, it's a scale. So now I can't unsee the hump in the bed.
well, it looks like a bed with a hump in the middle. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, essentially what we're seeing with the rainbow colored signs, it's the astrology signs. So that's where you know like the Aries, the Taurus, the Gemini. That outer rim is essentially the zodiac signs.
Hmm.
And then the next, I will just call it a ring of circle. The next ring where you see all these random symbols. So, like maybe you'll see a crescent moon, or you see
Hmm.
the letter P with that little line. So, those are the symbols for the planets. And
Okay.
then the very middle circle with all the lines, that essentially, to put it simply, talks about how the position of each planets influence each other and how that affects your personal life. But there's a lot going on with this one, so we'll just disregard it. There are some where all of their signs and planets just happen to be clumped into only a few signs, so the lines aren't as dramatic. And then in other cases, like Olivia Rodrigo's, she has more of a diverse birth chart, so she has a lot more intersecting lines, forming a little bit of a triangle or an upside down diamond, depending on how you're looking at it.
Well, I know you said to ignore it, but it's so crazy that she's just such a huge sensation, like a big star right now. And her chart literally has a gigantic star just like drawn across the screen, like the center.
Oh yeah, she does. Yeah, you're right. She does. Yeah, it's literally a star. She's a
Yeah,
star.
I was like, wow, that's so cool. I've never seen a chart like
Hmm.
that before.
Yeah. And I guess we can start with analyzing it now.
Yes, let's
All
go.
right,
So what do you look
let's
at
start.
first?
So the first thing that I like to look at is the rising. And the rising sign on a birth chart is indicated by a symbol called AC.
On the
So
left.
in Olivia's case, her AC, she is a Capricorn rising, but she's also a Sagittarius rising cusp. But we're gonna go, just to keep it simple, with Capricorn rising.
Okay.
So the rising sign indicates your best approach to life. So it's sort of like the mask that you put on people's first impression of you.
Hmm.
So with Olivia's rising being a Capricorn, I hope I got that right. Yes, Capricorn.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get my symbols mixed up. That means that from the get-go, she's very detail-oriented, she's very driven, she's very ambitious, and her career doesn't have to be limited to her singing career, but her professional career is sort of like the forefront of her life.
Mm.
When she sets her mind to it, she'll go for it, and usually with a little bit of, like, an air of achievement. It's almost like when she does something, there almost has to be sort of like an accomplishment or achievement tied to it,
That
which would make
explains why
sense.
her
She
debut
started
album
so young.
becomes like number one on every chart ever.
Oh,
Like
we have a
every
question
single.
from Nazim.
Yes.
Let's see. I have always wondered what happens when a person does not know the exact time they were born. Is it impossible to do a chart about that info? So, to answer that question, if you don't have someone's birth time, you can still pull up a chart. However, you will not be able to identify their rising sign. You won't be able to identify which house the planets are in, and you're not going to get as much information. So, it's almost like you're getting the foundation, but you don't have the entire like house.
Yeah. It'll basically be almost a little too general, right?
Yeah, so it'll be too general. So I think for a lot of people, because there are so many people out there who don't know their birth times, it'll give them a general idea, and then that's honestly the best you'll get.
Yeah, because this is when it turns from being very skeptical to less skeptical. I'm trying to be nice here with the whole like skeptic situation just because astrology is a very touchy subject, I feel like it's so I, I feel like it's becoming more accepted in mainstream society, but in
Hmm.
general there are a lot of skeptics, or there has traditionally been anyway a lot of skeptics. So when we look at a birth chart, that's when things get a little more specific. It's not just
Exactly.
it's not just, "Oh, you're a Sagittarius and that's all you are and that's all you'll ever be and that's your entire personality." It just doesn't I don't think that's anyone, right? Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Most definitely. And it's so interesting too because I'm looking at the rest of Olivia's chart,
Mhm.
and she's a rising Capricorn, but she has so many planets. If you like gravitate your gaze towards the lower left of the screen, towards the orange squigglies and
Mhm.
the blue, like it's like a little parentheses. it's like a butt cheek with a line in between. That's Pisces. So the squiggly line is Aquarius, and then the butt cheek with the line in between is Pisces.
Okay, okay. The butt cheek with the with the plus and the circle, right?
Oh, that's a planet. So but then lower without the circle, that's Pisces.
Oh, oh, oh. Okay, wait, wait. Squiggly line, and then we've got the butt cheek with the plus on the bottom, next to the number 2.
Oh, you're looking at that. You're looking at Neptune. Yes, yes. That planet is Neptune.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay. No.
No, you're all good. It's hard to like, I've never actually had to like orally like describe how a sign looks like. So this is also good practice for me. Because now I'm seeing
Okay.
that you thought my butt cheek analogy was for Neptune. I was talking about Pisces, but
Now that you've
I see
said
the
butt
butt cheek
cheek,
too.
yeah, now that you've said butt cheek, I see butt cheeks everywhere all of a sudden. So now it's like, okay, which butt cheek?
All right. Do
All
you
right,
know
so
your
we've got
sign for Pisces?
we've got squiggly lines, and
Yes.
then which part are you talking about that's in that squiggly line?
I'm actually not talking about the part of the squiggly line. It's next to the squiggly line. So in the outer quadrant where the zodiac's wheel is, to your right,
Uh-huh.
that blue symbol, Pisces.
Oh, the blue. Okay, that's Pisces. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
That
so
was
that one is
good.
Pisces.
All right. All right. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay, we're to the right of the squiggly line, y'all. That's what she was talking about. Not the little black symbols in the inside. She was talking about the outside butt cheeks with a line through it. Got it. Okay.
Mhm.
Hi,
Hi,
Christina. She's listening
Christina.
too. Ha ha hi, ladies. Hi, Christina. Clearly, I am demystifying astrology through the symbolism of butt cheekage. Uh,
But
this
also just, human analogy like Libra and the hump bed.
Okay, yes, yes. This is going to be all kinds of innuendos in this series. I can already tell. So
Yes,
it's a lot of
love
butt
it.
stuff and humps and
Actually,
um,
you know what I realized? Would it be easier if we just scroll down and show people the chart?
oh yeah.
Or like somehow
Okay.
zoom in to that
Oh,
chart with the written version of it?
I don't know how to do this. Okay, hold on. Okay. Mark, thank you for the bomb award, Mark. Okay, so Nazim says, Olivia, you're right. Some people think it's quack stuff. They have no idea how on mark it is. It is. If you know your birth time and your birthplace, it can be very accurate. Christina says, oh, I was looking at the same inner circle. She was also looking for the butt cheek in there, you see? Um,
Yeah. We started, forget demystifying astrology. We're demystifying it and making references to human anatomy too.
yeah, we're trying to make it understandable, you know? Everyone knows what a butt
Mhm.
cheek is. Um, Nazim says, happy I dropped by for this. Bravi. Now about the butt cheeks. Aiden Lead says, I'm a Virgo. Very
He's
cool.
a Virgo. Let me see if he shares anything. No, no, sadly, no, not with Olivia.
Oh, oh,
Olivia does not have a Virgo in her.
nice. Aiden is also a cook, apparently.
Oh, how
The new app.
exciting.
Yes, the new app is amazing. Okay, so let me see if I can zoom into this a little more. Maybe if I full screen it, you can see it.
Yeah, that's a lot better. Yeah. So the
Okay.
chart on the bottom left-hand corner where it
Oh, yes.
details all
Yes.
the fun stuff.
Oh, I can zoom into that. Let's let's grab that so that we can zoom into that part. Not that I know what's going on, but okay. So what were you talking about? Because she is a Pisces, I believe.
Yes. So her sun sign is a Pisces, and what that means for Olivia is that the sun sign represents sort of your character, sort of like um, I'm thinking of like a video game analogy, but I know not everyone plays video games. So the first visual that I come up with is you know how say you start like a new mobile game, right? And you kind of get to pick your character.
Mm,
So the character that Olivia Rodrigo picked is that of a Pisces. And Pisces, they are honestly probably one of the most spiritual astrology signs. They're very intuitive. they're also very deep in their emotions. They're very deep feelers. They're
That explains
also
a lot.
highly creative. They're highly
Mm,
creative and they're able to channel their emotions, if channeled correctly, into art or whatever expression they choose to express themselves in this lifetime. So, things that Pisces do have to look out for, though, is that if a Pisces isn't in their power, they have the temptation to be a little bit emotionally manipulative because sometimes when you're so in your feels, you just want people to validate that you're so in your feels. So they might do things to sort of seek validation on that sense, or they might use their emotions to sort of manipulate other people's emotions. So that's just sort of like one shadow that Pisces have to be aware of.
I mean, that's one of her lyrics that she keeps on repeating, and I think it's like "good for you" or something. Like literally,
Yes,
I
good
think
for
she's like,
you.
baby, I'm so emotional," like over and over again.
Mhm.
I was like,
Yeah, and it's so
"Whoa."
interesting.
It's so fascinating, and I'm like, "Wow, I would never write a lyric like that." But I'm
And
also
I think it's
not
so cool too
Pisces.
because all of her songs, she is the writer, so it's from her perspective, but
Mhm.
it's almost like you're feeling her, like it's just purely her,
Oh,
and like even with like
totally.
driver's license, she's like we feel like her sadness and like that nostalgia. And then even with deja vu, where it's like we're empathizing with, oh, like what if our ex brought his next partner to all the places that he brought us first, but then he's saying, this is our first time. And I'm like, oh, yeah, like she's very good at conveying and expressing her emotions in a way that's very empathetic and relatable to listeners.
And that's what makes her so good. I mean, that is
I
the reason
know.
why she's a number 1 artist. It's because she expresses her emotions so well, and in this chart, it looks like we know why. She was made for this.
Yeah, she was made for this with
She
her
was
sun
really
in
made for this.
Pisces. And with her rising in Capricorn. So with her rising Capricorn, she's very ambitious and it's almost like she's able to direct that energy towards something that could lead to achievement. But it's
Yeah.
also interesting because I think so based on her chart, just an overall overview, Olivia Rodrigo is actually very intuitive. And I wouldn't be
Hmm.
surprised if she is actually spiritual, but she might be a bit of a closet spiritual for now, just because she is such a public figure at this moment.
Mhm.
And even though like spirituality and new age is becoming more and more mainstream, I think it would be it might feel a little too soon for like a celebrity to just be like, yeah, I like consult shamans and Reiki practitioners and then, you know,
Yeah. I
becomes big news.
realized
It might be too soon for the media, for Hollywood to
yes.
finally be open about that, but I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised. So I think Olivia's one of those people where you might not expect her to be spiritual, but I think she's actually pretty spiritual.
Okay, so it might be like one of those Madonna situations or Gwyneth Paltrow situations where they kind of like come out of the spiritual closet deeper into their careers when they've already established themselves, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I see that.
Also, I'm looking at her chart too, and her Pisces, her sun in Pisces, is
Uh-huh.
in the second house.
Which means
So the second house represents the house of money. It represents the house of finances and also material goods. And it's actually a very interesting placement for a Pisces because Pisces is all about your emotions, like very free flowing. Pisces also, because they are the last zodiac sign in the astrology wheel, they
mhm,
represent endings, the end of something and becoming one, returning to consciousness, returning to the idea of like God before restarting the cycle again. So it's an interesting placement that it's like almost like she's this free spirit, but she's expressing it in the house of money. And money is traditionally like, in just not money, but like material goods. Traditionally, it's solid, right? It's grounding, it's solid, and it's very like it's a thing. But her
mhm.
as a character, she's not a thing. So it's almost like you're free flowing, trying to navigate through like a thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if like let me see what's coming through. It's almost like with money, she has a lot of placements in the second house too. She has Mercury, she has Neptune, and she has Uranus in the second house as well. So money is going to play, I feel, a huge role in her life.
Mm,
Um, she might experience some ups and downs with money. Not to
mm,
say that she'll ever like be poor or anything, but it's almost like, say, the cryptocurrency market, it fluctuates a lot. It may fluctuate a lot.
mhm.
Where she'll have moments like, say, she debuted an album. That's when she'll be like, "Woo, money, money, money," and then all of a sudden, when she takes a break, it's like, "Oh, break time," So it's like her flow of money is very interesting,
I
and
see.
I think, and with her sun, so the sun by itself as a star, it represents your ego.
Hmm.
It's a very interesting combination, and I'm like, ooh, I want to read up more on this placement, just to see like how that translates into real life. But
Interesting.
money plays a pretty huge part in Olivia Rodrigo's life. I don't think she realizes it, but money, it does play a huge part in her life, like the possession of material goods in general. And also, I feel like she has three planets in the sign of Aquarius. And Aquarius is the zodiac sign for being unconventional.
Mm.
So she might even come up with unconventional, genius ways to generate more wealth.
Interesting. I thought you were going to talk about her unconventional album. Even her project as an artist is completely unconventional.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, for her to go into this project being I mean, she's already cross genre. So she's going in with all these different genres. She's coming in as just like she's 17. She's an underage teenager with an explicit album, kind of like the way that Billie Eilish did it. I think I
Hmm.
think I think Billie Eilish had an explicit album as well. I'm not sure, but it's very interesting because it's unconventional in the sense of mainstream media, but it's actually just bringing what's normal to the surface. Like, which teenager do we know that, or like a typical teenager curses, they're in the fields, they're dating, they're doing all the things that she's talking about. So it's not like
Hmm.
she's doing anything that's not something that a typical teenager doesn't go through.
Hmm.
But it's
Yeah.
just for the first time, people are coming to realize, like, oh my gosh, so you mean teenagers don't listen to Kids Bop too? Like Teen Bop? Like that's not reality, you know? I mean, I'm sure there are some teenagers,
Yeah.
but most teenagers are listening to all the explicit stuff, anything they want. Like, I think at that time, I might have even been like an underground hip hop head at the time. Like, I listened to a lot of hip hop at the time. And so I see why she blew up. And it's very unconventional. So, but I'm guessing that maybe in the future she might have unconventional ways of career, I guess, unconventional careers, right?
Yeah, it's I think it's what you said. It might appear unconventional to what the norm is, but she
Yeah.
does it in a way that the conventional can understand. So it's
Mhm.
almost like making the unconventional conventional, because part of Aquarian energy is being unconventional. They're placed into a situation where they're sort of the odd one out. But because they are the odd one out, it gives them the opportunity to analyze what is considered status quo. And once they understand the status quo and they understand how to communicate to the status quo, they can then bring their genius, their uniqueness to the collective, because now they have the tools to communicate it in a way that the conventional can still understand, but still label it as conventional. It's like you said, like I hadn't heard like an album with so much diversity. I'm so used to hearing albums of like the same old like pop instruments, synths, you know but her music, it's like you said, it crosses many genres. She even like, no one expected like this girl who was just on like High School Musical, and it's not even the original High School Musical, it's like the Disney Plus version of High School Musical. And all of a sudden, like, bam, you know? I mean, I don't really know what if High School Musical the musical, I think is what it's called, is popular among kids because I don't personally watch it, and I am unfortunately not of that demographic anymore. I've aged. So, but, you know, it's almost like I didn't see it coming. I don't think because I never watched High School Musical, so I didn't know her genius from High School Musical. And
Me
then
neither. Is
bam,
she
she
from?
releases this album.
Is that where she's from? High School Musical?
High School Musical, the musical.
Oh, she did acting before.
Yeah, she's also an actress.
Oh, I
Yeah.
never knew. I thought she came out of nowhere.
No, so she used to be an act well, no, I don't wanna say used to, she still is an actress. And
Uh-huh.
I think, when Driver's License came out too, a lot of people were also making theories about who she was talking about because around that time, she had also broken up with, I believe, her co-star. I don't really know their names, but she was dating, like, the male lead in real life, and they broke up. And then there were like tabloid gossip about her ex seeing this other girl. So then a lot of people were also psychoanalyzing her lyrics and being like, oh, what does this mean? And oh, is she talking about her ex? You know? So she didn't intend for it to happen that way. That's at least what she said in a public interview. But it happened that way. And that's also like another hot topic that blew up when her song Driver's License came out. Who was she talking
Wow.
about?
Wow, I am so not with it. I am just in my own world all the time. Jeez. Okay, I totally thought she was girl that just appeared out of nowhere, overnight celebrity. I guess she has some history. Okay, Christina also says she's from Disney. That's all I know. I didn't even know she was from Disney. Wow.
And you know what's so interesting? What's so interesting about her acting career is that I'm looking at her chart right now. She has a Leo in Jupiter.
Which is?
So a Leo as a character represents someone who is proud to be their truest authentic self. They shine. I literally just think of a lion roaring, you know. They're very confident, self-assured, prideful. And in the planet of Jupiter, Jupiter represents abundance, it represents luck, it represents how you receive assistance from God, universe, whomever you believe in. So her Leo being in Jupiter, it almost ties into her being an actress because as a Leo, she's front and center. Because Leo is all about, look at me, I'm the center.
Okay.
And she was a female lead.
Oh, okay. Symbol wise, is it the one that's on the top right corner, like kind of 1 o'clock ish? Like one,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
And then the four
yep,
looking thing is a Jupiter
yep, that's
in the
Jupiter.
in the eighth house, right?
Yes, in the eighth house. So it's almost like it's a rebirth because the eighth house represents the house of death, transformation, rebirth. And it was like her acting career birth was like that rebirth process. Because I'm sure she, similar to Ariana Grande, you know, I'm sure she had ambitions to be a singer first, but then she got the opportunity to be on a show.
Ah,
So then it was through that show where she got some public recognition, and then it was like like a rebirthing stage of like, and the fact that like you know she went through like all these romantic relationships too. It was like that rebirth, you know, like she made herself almost the center of that narrative, and then was like, I'm gonna you know unapologetically share my story.
okay. So that yeah, that's kind of like it's like 1 o'clock ish. Yeah, the red symbol.
Yeah. So then, and with Jupiter being there, like with her Leo, because she's being her truest, authentic self in her songs, like Jupiter is like, all right, I'm gonna reward you for your efforts.
Ah, interesting. Ah, okay,
Yeah, so
interesting.
that is interesting. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you look at what catches your eye next?
Let me see. So let's talk about her moon sign real quickly because I know in mainstream talk, when it comes to astrology, people always talk about rising sun and moon. So we'll
Okay.
cover that. So her moon sign, which is the crescent moon on the chart, that'll be towards the top, 12 o'clock, a little before. So that is in her Libra, the hump, the hump, the bed
The
hump.
bed with a hump.
Yeah. So her moon sign is in Libra in the ninth house. So when I see that placement, what I'm seeing is someone whose comfort zone, who finds emotional stability. She finds it through her relationship with, interestingly enough, her relationship with faith. Because ninth house is the house of faith, it's the house of philosophy, and it's the house of also travel too. It's where Sagittarius lives.
Hmm. I
So
remember
I feel like
you
for
mentioning
her,
this.
oh yeah, yeah, and it was interesting because I just got that channeled message because I was like thinking more about relationships with humans, like friends,
Mhm.
partners. But then I saw the ninth house, I heard like her relationship with God. So I feel
Interesting.
like her faith, whatever religious beliefs she may have, plays a huge role in keeping her grounded. Because as a
Interesting.
Libra, she's naturally like with the Libra moon, if she's triggered, her default might be to get into her head and start analyzing what did I do wrong. I mean, and it's it's reflected in her songs too. She'll like in her songs she sings about like, oh, did you like this girl because she's taller, more blonde, or
Mhm.
like, oh, the girl you picked is basically all of the insecurities I have. She even
Yeah.
reflects these in her song lyrics. So I
Mhm.
feel like when she's triggered, her first go to is to get into her head and start analyzing the relationship and be like, what's going wrong? Like, what's going on? But I feel like what really can keep her grounded is her faith in religion, like her connection to God. And I sprayed frankincense perfume just now, and frankincense is the God oil. I call it the Jesus Christ oil because I believe Jesus Christ was anointed with frankincense.
Yes, by
So,
the three kings. Well, in one theory it was three kings, but there's other theories that believe it was like a group of people and it was like three gifts. But that's another topic, I'm sure, that we can dive into another time.
yeah, so it's so interesting. Like I said, she's very spiritual, whether
Hmm.
she shows it or not.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to dig it up in her Wikipedia. I wish we had access to her. We can just ask her.
Yeah. Hey, hey, maybe one day she'll see this. Hey, Olivia, how much is this true for your life? Please
Yes,
let us
let us
know.
know. Or someone
Please
who
let
knows
us
her.
know.
Like,
Yeah.
how true is this? Because we don't. Apparently, I didn't even know she was on the Disney Channel. So I'm or Disney. She worked with Disney. I was just like,
Yeah.
wow. This girl is so talented. Who is this? And I kept on hearing her music, and I was like, wow. Christina says this is so interesting that you're reading her chart. Thank you. We actually brainstormed this for a while because we weren't sure how to go about this. And at first, we're gonna like, oh, let's look at my chart, and I was like, not interesting enough. Who's another Olivia we can tear apart? So
Honestly, I mean, we've analyzed Olivia Ty's chart. I analyzed like her family too.
yeah,
Her little nieces.
yeah,
They're
it was
so
really impressive.
adorable.
Yeah, my nieces love you, Auntie Emily,
Oh, not gigantic Genevieve.
aka Gigantic Genevieve. Backstory, everyone. So apparently, Emily, who I've met like recently, is kind of like the adult version of my oldest niece, Genevieve. So I sometimes refer to Emily when she's not around as Gigantic Genevieve because I'm so used to being with Genevieve and I just met Emily. And then now that I hang out with Emily more, now I'm starting to call Genevieve little Emily instead of Emily Gigantic Genevieve. So it's kind of interesting. I just kind of like throw it around because they're kind of interchangeable. Just one's older and one's significantly younger. She's a child. She's 12,
Mhm.
But Christina says, I thought it was you at first. Yeah, no, not me. No. This person's got star power on the screen, She's got that star power going on.
Hey, you
Very
got that star power too, Olivia. Don't hide your credits. We know your credits. I know your credits.
cool. Thank you. Thank you.
I know
Appreciate
your credits,
that.
of course.
Okay, so this is clearly this is a complex art, but I do like the
This
way that
is a
you break
complex
this down
art.
because I'm starting to feel like I'm understanding what you're talking about now. Like I'm looking at the houses,
Yeah,
I'm looking at these squiggly lines and these symbols and these butt cheeks, and I'm like, oh, okay, I see now. I see what she means. The butt cheeks.
all the butt cheeks.
Yes. And the beds with the humps in the middle, and then there's like
Mm-hmm.
M's. There's M's with
Yeah.
arrows. There's some
There's a
arrows going
freaking
on.
69 for
Yeah, there's a
Cancer.
69. This is getting very innuendo-y. Okay, so
This is
okay,
very
what
intimate.
it's a very intimate reading. Okay, what else are we looking at in Olivia Rodrigo's chart?
First off, how are we on time?
I think we're doing good. We're in like 45 minutes.
All right, coolio. I'm wondering if I should just get to her destiny.
Sure.
Everyone likes knowing about their destiny.
I want to know about her destiny.
Awesome. So, the sign that we look out for to look at someone's destiny or guided path, it's called the North Node. And the North Node is literally a horseshoe.
A horseshoe. Okay. That's
Hmm.
in the
So look for the
fifth
horseshoe.
house, right?
Yes. Hmm.
So for everyone that's looking, I for some reason I can't put an arrow on it, so I'm gonna say like it looks like around 4 o'clock on the wheel, and it looks like a little. It looks like upside down ovaries to me, but yeah, horseshoe.
I call it horseshoe because other people have called it horseshoe. But all
Oh
right,
yes, it's a
upside down.
horseshoe.
Well, the upside down ovary is an actual symbol too. That's the South Node, but
Oh
we won't get
no
into that.
way!
Yeah, that's the South Node.
Okay, fine. Horseshoe, headphones. That's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah, headphones too. Yeah. So the
Okay.
North Node. So Olivia Rodrigo's North Node is in the sign of Gemini,
Oh,
and the Gemini is a very speedy, very informative zodiac sign. They're all about communication. They're also very big on information. And with her North Node in the fifth house, let's see. She's here to learn in this lifetime. It's almost like she's here to learn how to play because the fifth house is the house of pleasure. It's also that's also, honestly what I know about the fifth house is pleasure. I just think of it as the pleasure house, but in PG, but possibly other ways too. Um, and it's almost like she's learning how to have fun with what she learns.
wow, interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do like some more research on this myself because her chart is actually one of the few charts where like a lot of these placements are like the first time I'm seeing them in. So even for me, I'm like, oh, how do I like translate this? Because the way that I studied astrology too, it's not like your typical I signed up for a course and I read a bunch of textbooks. I learned astrology through experience.
Right,
So it was through I did look up some stuff before in the past, but it was like I memorized keywords and
right.
then I tried to create a story based off the keywords.
Fascinating. Well, that's why these
Yeah.
birth chart readings can take hours, essentially. Like if you look at it, and like right now, we're barely heading into like I don't know 49 minutes of this live stream, and we've really only covered maybe is it called aspects, but like sections. I want to say we've really only covered maybe 4 sections.
I know. There's so many more planets to go through. I'm almost like, oh, do we have time to go through all of them?
I know,
Gonna
right?
have to give you like the Spark Notes version of Olivia's chart.
Exactly. I'm sure plenty of people have gone through her chart as well. But they're not you, Emily. They're not you. So,
Ah, thanks.
but it's just so interesting. And I'm like, okay, so her destiny is in Gemini in the fifth house.
Hmm.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm actually look this up now. I'm like Gemini in fifth house. Gemini North Node fifth house.
Very specific,
Let's see what juice. Yeah, you have to be specific
right?
because it's the fifth house that gives you Oh yeah, she's here to learn how to be herself.
Well,
Okay, I was not far off the mark.
yeah. Well, she might be ahead of the game.
Self-expression.
Okay.
Yeah, self-expression is it's gonna be like really important to her.
Seems like it.
Ah, interesting. Okay, I see now. Okay, so with her fifth house, her North Node being the fifth house, that means she's had patterns of suppressing herself in order to satisfy the status quo. So,
Ooh.
what may have happened is in past incarnations, she lived lives where she may as like very well may have been a public figure,
Hmm.
but she had to, she could have been like royalty, like a prince or princess where she had to keep up appearances and keep up a status quo. But
Ah,
now, in this lifetime, she's given the freedom to express herself unapologetically,
and she could
no
just.
matter what other people say.
I love that. Very
And
cool.
she's doing that through the media because Gemini also rules like information. So how does she express herself with information? Through music. Music is a form of communication.
Yeah. Wow. Very interesting.
I know. So that was quite I'm glad I looked this up. I'm like, "Oh, that makes so much sense now."
Yeah. Fascinating.
Yeah, she needs creative self-expression. She was born to be an artist.
And that she is.
Mhm.
Well, that is awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much, Emily, for taking the time to break this down. And I cannot wait for our first new moon circle tonight. I think you have so much information to share that so many people can really benefit and learn from. And the world is waiting for you, Emily.
Aw, thanks. I am still working on that. So, in
I,
time, in time.
yes, and I'm here to move that forward with you.
Thank you, manifesting generator.
Yes, that's it in connection with another a little series that we have going with Kareen, which is about human design. And Kareen's going to human design school, which is very interesting too. But yes,
Oh, she is. Cool.
yes, that's why we have that show going too. And I am a manifesting generator. You are a projector, which I guess makes some sense since we work very well together and I have an entire team and a husband and husband's family that are full of projectors. So I am here to infinitely invite all of the projectors in my life so that they can do what they need to do and be amazing in whatever they want to do in their life. Yes. Okay. So, where can everybody find you, Emily? Where can we get more info? All kinds of good stuff.
Yeah, so
Frankincense, your perfume.
y- yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know, I make perfumes through my brand Iris of the Moon. I make a combination of signature scents that I channeled directly from source, or I just create the pure versions of the perfumes. I call them pure fumes, and I made one for this show actually called Frankincense because I like to diffuse frankincense. Oh, it's upside down. I like to diffuse frankincense in my office space because frankincense is really good for higher self connection.
It sure is.
So yeah, so I make these perfumes. You can find them at www.irisofthemoon.com. And if you'd like to connect with me on Instagram, my handle is at irisofthemoon underscore because someone else took Iris of the Moon.
Relatable. That's what happened to me. I have a dot in the middle of my Instagram handle, so that's that story. Awesome. So thank you so much, Emily. Always a pleasure talking to you. We talk every day, so it's always a
Yep.
fun time. This is great. Thank you. I always learn so much every time we do one of these things. So, thank you, and I
Thank
hope to
you.
see everyone at the free new moon meditation circle tonight. There's going to be so much info. Emily's going to be sharing all kinds of stuff about this particular new moon. I'm going to be doing the meditation and sharing a worksheet that I created. It's all free. So come on down. We're going to be doing all kinds of fun stuff. Hopefully, yes, Christina, thanks for being here. Thank you,
Woo,
everyone,
yeah,
for
thanks for
tuning
tuning
in.
in.
Yes, so fun. Can't wait. Emily, we're going to keep doing this, right?
Oh yeah, of course. We
Thursdays, 3
will.
o'clock. Is that what
Yeah,
we're aiming
let's
for?
let's do it. Let's do it.
Yes. So every Thursday at 3 p.m., this is our official announcement, I think, of our new show, deMISTifying Astrology, in the most digestible way, I guess, with all kinds of different innuendos and apparently butt cheeks and things. So tune in every Thursday, 3 p.m., right here on HAPS and all the other platforms. We might even be extending this to other Audible platforms as well. So catch you there. Bye, everybody.
Bye guys.